type of forearm splint that we'll sometimes use is called a sugar tong splint. This is to be used more for after you've done a distal radius reduction. This type of splint prevents pronation and supination of the forearm, so it can help hold your reduction. It can also is well used for very stable forearm fractures. It is absolutely not to be used for elbow fractures. That will sometimes confuse people. This is not an elbow type of splint. This is, again, a forearm or wrist splint. I ripped it. So just like the other splints, you want a good base padding here. I'm going to go back up to the hand real quick. I often like to poke holes just so you get a nice thick layer both around the thumb and the top of the hand. Your splint does not want to extend, casting or splinting does not want to extend past the metacarpal heads, which is the distal palmar crease. It is not actually where the finger begins itself. It's a little bit more proximal than that. Yeah, right where she's pointing. So you don't want to cast past that, otherwise people lose the use of their fingers and they don't like you very much. So again, about 2 to 3 layers thick all the way up here. You want the elbow flexed at about 90 degrees. The wrist hand, I call it can of Coke position, just kind of a resting position of the hand, fingers, and wrist. So this is going to come up and around the elbow, just a little above the elbow because the splint does come around, but you don't have to go up the arm very much at all. Much like an ankle, you want to make sure that your olecranon back here is fairly well padded. A couple of extra layers right there. Again, we like to use the rolls of plaster. We're going to measure this out from the back of the hand up to the metacarpal heads again. Kind of loop it around the elbow. That's your distance. Let me measure this out. Typically about 10 layers thick. This is going to be a little bit thinner. All right, so you got your fabric, you got your plaster fairly well smoothed out. You don't want a ton of wrinkles in this. Flex your elbow just a little bit, tidge more. There you go. I made it a little bit long. You can fold those ends back. Will not cause a problem. Get you flexed up just a bit. There we go. Wrapped around the elbow now. She's going to help hold that for me. I will get it wrapped on in place. I gotcha. Bit of a mold just to kind of cinch it down and up around the elbow. Give it a hug. Give it a hug. I like to wrap an ace bandage around the top. Cut yourself a nice big thumb hole. You can absolutely cause quite a bit of edema in the thumb if you make that hole too small. And there we have a sugar tong splint.